I could tell by the look on my teacher's face that she knew I had forgotten my homework again. "What's your excuse this time, Toby?" Miss Henchly asked with a sigh. "I'm sorry, miss. I left it on the kitchen table. I'll have it tomorrow, I promise," I replied. She wasn't buying it. It was the same old excuse she had heard too many times before. Despite my promises, I ended up with detention, just like always. When I got home, my mother was waiting for me. The school had already called her, and the look on her face told me I was in big trouble. "This is the third time this month the school has called," she said, frustration clear in her voice. "I'm sorry, Mom. I really did leave my homework at home. Miss Henchly just has it out for me," I tried to explain. Mom wasn't having it. She grounded me for the week, which meant I was stuck in my room with only my little sister Cindy for company. Cindy was a bit annoying, but she meant well. "Miss Henchly gave me detention again. I hate her. I wish somebody would teach her a lesson," I complained to Cindy. Cindy looked at me with a big smile. "I can ask my friend to help you. Millie is great and does everything I ask her to do." I just shrugged. Cindy had an imaginary friend named Millie, and while it was cute, I didn't think much of it. Later that night, I was jolted awake and saw Cindy sitting at the dressing table, her back turned to me. "Get back to bed, Cindy. It's late, and if Mom finds you out of bed, I'll get in trouble," I grumbled. Sharing a room with Cindy was a pain, especially since our dad died. We had to move into a smaller house, and Mom promised it was temporary, but 2 years later, I was still stuck in that tiny room with her. The next morning, I noticed a drawing on the dresser. Cindy loved to draw unicorns and fairies, but this picture was different. It was disturbing. It showed a woman lying on the ground next to a wrecked car with red marks around her head. When I got to school, I was surprised to find that Miss Henchly wasn't there. Instead, we had a substitute teacher who told us that Miss Henchly had been in a terrible car accident. The drawing Cindy made flashed in my mind. I tried to brush it off as a coincidence, but the guilt lingered. I had wished something bad would happen to Miss Henchly, and now it had. The only upside to the whole situation was not having to serve detention that day. On my way home, I ran into Damian Morsley, the school bully. He had been giving me a hard time all year, and as usual, he beat me up before I could get away. When I got home bruised and bloody, I went straight to my room. I didn't want my mom to see and make a big deal out of it. "What happened to you?" Cindy asked when she saw me. "Nothing. Just leave me alone," I snapped, not in the mood to talk. "Was it that mean kid Damian again?" she asked, sounding concerned. "Yeah, but you can't tell Mom. She'll freak out," I warned her. Cindy gave me that same mischievous smile. "Don't worry, Millie will fix him." The next morning, I found another drawing on the dresser. This one was even worse than the last. It showed a kid lying on the ground with a knife in his stomach and a man standing over him. I went to school, hoping Damian would be there, but he wasn't. As the day went on, rumors spread that Damian's father had been arrested for doing something terrible to him. On the way home, I detoured past Damian's house, only to find it surrounded by police tape with people in white suits in the yard. A kid on a bike confirmed my worst fear. Damian had been murdered by his father. It was too much of a coincidence. First Miss Henchly, and now Damian. Cindy's drawings were coming true. I ran home and called Cindy to our room. "Cindy, you need to stop this imaginary friend business. I don't know how you're doing it, but people are getting hurt," I shouted, panicking. Tears welled up in Cindy's eyes. "But Millie is real. She's not imaginary." "You'll see," she cried before running out of the room. That night, I felt guilty for yelling at Cindy. I tossed and turned in bed, struggling to sleep. At some point, I was jolted awake again. Cindy was sitting at the dressing table, drawing, her back to me. "Get back to bed, Cindy," I whispered, but she didn't move. "Who are you talking to?" A voice came from above me. Startled, I turned and saw Cindy still in her bed. I looked back at the dressing table, but the girl sitting there was gone. My heart pounded as I walked over to the dresser. There was another drawing. I picked it up, and dread crept up my spine. The picture showed someone impaled on spikes at the bottom of a canyon, blood pouring from their body. Tomorrow was our annual school trip to the Grand Canyon.